Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams were once a dynamic duo in Green Bay, and they had a brief reunion last year in New York, but it didn't work out as they planned. Now they are on respective new teams, and Rodgers landed in Pittsburgh and Steelers. He landed in Pittsburgh with the Steelers, and Davante Adams was headed out west to join Matt Stafford and the Rams. Dan, I gotta ask you, which player, Rodgers or Davante, is gonna have more of an impact with their new team?
Davante Adams, because he goes to a real Super Bowl contender. I do not find the Pittsburgh Steelers to be a bona fide real Super Bowl contender. I think Aaron makes them a good team that has the chance to be a playoff contending football team. But Davante Adams last year with Aaron and some up and down performances and health, whatnot, still went over for 85 catches, 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And so he's joining an offense that's going to have a phenomenal offensive line. Obviously, Puka Nacua, one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. He's got to play like the 2 in their offense, even though he's still the 1 when it comes to his ability. So the Los Angeles Rams that decided to move on from Cooper Kupp, like you have to go and outpace what Cooper Kupp did and impacted for that offense last year. I think it balances the Rams passing game symmetrically side to side. And it gives a guy that Matthew can stand at the line of scrimmage and go, who's one-on-one? Davante's one-on-one at the line of scrimmage. Doesn't matter. Press off. He's going to go win. So we're talking about a real Super Bowl contender, and Davante joining them more impactful than Aaron kind of solidifying the hole that was Pittsburgh.
You surprised he didn't take the QB there?
No, I'm not, because he took the team that Matthew Stafford plays on.
Good point.
It's not. He did take the QB. He took the QB. But I believe it's Aaron Rodgers, and I believe it's Aaron Rodgers because of Davante Adams. Davante Adams is on the pivot tomorrow. And we had a conversation about Aaron Rodgers, and he said people saying that he still can't do it at a high level or comparing him to some of the lower level quarterbacks in the NFL. He's like, those people don't watch film. Those people didn't see what Aaron Rodgers was doing as it trended toward the end of the season last year. And when you look at the Rams and you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't think there's much difference in the level of those teams. I just think those teams play in different conferences. If the Pittsburgh Steelers were one of those teams in the NFC, they could be a team that could compete, but we don't see them being better than Baltimore or the Buffaloes or the Kansas Cities. But Aaron Rodgers is going to elevate this team. The way that Arthur Smith can now build around him and only ask Aaron Rodgers to be the dude that we knew, be the dude that became one of the best to ever play it in certain moments. They're going to run the football. They're going to play a ton of 12 personnel. They're going to use Jonnu Smith. They're going to use Pat Freiermuth. They're going to try to make sure they're physical up front. And defensively, I believe that this team has taken a step up from who they were last season. And so when you think about them having an opportunity to compete, I believe Aaron Rodgers is a more significant upgrade over Justin Fields and who Russell Wilson was last year than Davante Adams would be for the offense in Los Angeles.
So significant upgrade. Do you think with Rodgers in Pittsburgh that the playoff win drought is broken finally? Do you see that much of an upgrade or no?
No, because obviously it's going to be dependent on who they would, if they get in, match up against type of thing. I think that this is my thought on Aaron in Pittsburgh. Aaron played good enough last year where if they in Pittsburgh get what Aaron did, you're looking at 10 wins. You're looking at a 10-7 football team. If you steal one, you're at 11-6. But then you're going to the playoffs and you're going, the teams that I believe that will get in, Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, Houston, they're not going to beat those teams unless they catch them on a bad day. And so that's why I still say, like, whether Aaron's there and they go 10-7, 11-6, or Mason Rudolph was there and they go like 8-9, 9-8, I think the end result looks very similarly. Where Davante goes to LA went on a run last year without Cooper being crazy impactful. And if LA stays healthy and they play somewhat to the way that they did last year, Davante's impact is now going to go, and I'm not going to say it's going to be this, but it will have a feel of when Odell went there.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, when it was like, oh my gosh, they got Odell and Cooper Kupp in his prime. Now they got Davante and Puka Nacua in his prime. That's where I see the impact.
And I think what Dan is alluding to, which I do agree with, is that the addition of Davante Adams can take the Los Angeles Rams further than the Pittsburgh Steelers because they also started in different places.
True.
Right? The Los Angeles Rams were a drive away in Philadelphia last year.
Yep.
If Jalen Carter just doesn't absolutely take over the last drive and destroy the front line for the Los Angeles Rams. So it's a different place. And if you watched Cooper Kupp with some of the injuries and some of the decline in who he was, Davante Adams is an upgrade. You listen to Sean McVay there, man. Listen to him talk about what Davante can still be and what he can still do. They are even surprised that he is that level of player still. But for me, it's going to be with Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin, like the confidence level you now have in a quarterback that you haven't had since Big Ben's last 2 years. Right, as Big Ben was declining, they weren't in the place where they're like, man, I believe in this dude.
Yeah.
I believe he can place that ball where he needs to place. I believe he can push the football down the field. I believe the experience, the wisdom, right, the knowledge, and the things that he's gone through can show up in this moment. They haven't had that. And even without having that, they've been dragging teams into the playoffs every year.
Totally.
And that's what I believe. When I see Mike T smiling every time he's talking about Aaron Rodgers, I believe there's a level of belief in that position that he didn't even have last year with Russell Wilson.
Which only speaks to a higher impact, Dan.
Well, because there's part of this for me is there's a known. I've got a great feel in almost like prediction of what Davante can do in LA because I know all the other parts around it. The impact of Aaron is a little bit of unknown. I agree with Darcy. If that offensive line takes a big jump, and because you're 42, 43?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm about to be 46.
Okay, you're 46.
Stop telling people my age on TV, dog. Like what you doing?
Yeah, so you're mid-40s. I turn 42 in a couple weeks. Aaron's 42.
Yeah.
Dude, I did the Peloton this morning, and I was like, so, like, if that offensive line could keep him healthy into December, and he's able to play the way he wants, not just play the way he wants, well, then maybe the impact's felt a little bit more. If him and Arthur Smith go through some of those valleys and who's going to offense, maybe that impacts a little bit more, but I don't know how that's all going to play out.
And the thing is, too, this is the optimism I have from watching him be able to protect himself a little better toward the end of the season. Last year, early on in the season, it was just get it out of my hand. I can't hold on to it. I don't want people to get to me. And then we watched him move around a little bit. We saw him play well against Jacksonville, late against Miami. But you're correct, right? It's going to be, can you protect him? How comfortable will he be in this offense? And how easy can Jonnu Smith and DK Metcalf and Pat Freiermuth make some of these throws for Aaron Rodgers? And if you can do that and things get rolling, there can be a confidence level to this team we haven't seen.
I think that the variance between what the Steelers' floor is and what the ceiling could be, I think is really important because we know the Rams are a playoff team. They almost beat the Eagles last year, but with the Steelers, you count on Mike Tomlin to get them 5 wins.
I mean, I think the other piece of it, this is too, though, like,